What kind of lunatic wants to attract screamers in 7 Days to Die? Apparently me, and it might just be genius. How you doing? I'm Rebel, and welcome back to 7 Days 2.0. Today I'm taking on a challenge from one of you. Tracy Brody dropped an idea in the comments to build a base that spawns in screamers on purpose just to farm XP. So we're doing exactly that. Is it risky? Definitely. But if it works, this could be a simple way to level up fast in 2.0. Let's get to building. Alright, so before we start building, I'm going to turn on the heat map, and that should tell us what the heat level is at. The way that you attract screamers is they're drawn in by heat, and the more heat there is, the more chances of there being a screamer spawn in. So I think the way that it works is, if you look on the screen, it's probably hard to see. I'm going to lift this up just so you can see it better. Those 3 bars on the left-hand side. Once that percentage reaches 100%, then there's like a 50-50 chance, I don't know what the actual numbers are, to actually spawn in a screamer. So let's start building, and I'm going to keep an eye on that percentage, see where that goes. We're just going to build up a basic little hut and see if we can get the zombies to spawn in. Just, it looks like placing blocks doesn't draw any heat whatsoever. So I think you're good there, but mostly everything else in the game causes heat. Ooh, I just destroyed a block, and that did. Let's see. Yep, that definitely raised the heat level. Not by much, it's only at 1.42%, so I think we're still good, but building doesn't cause heat, but I know that destroying stuff does. Alright, so we got a little tiny shack built. Now I think we just need to call in some screamers, right? Not call them in, but actually do something that's gonna cause them to spawn in. I guess a campfire, a couple campfires will work. We'll throw in a chem station, and how about a forge too? You know what, we'll do 2 forges. Something way more than enough to call in some screamers. 2 forges, 6 campfires, and a chemistry station. All right, so we got our little screamer beacon here, and now we just need to turn everything on, see what happens. And heat is rapidly rising. If you look at the bar on the right, we're at 85% already. This is far more than enough to call in a screamer in a normal playthrough. So we're at 21.26% and it's gone. I've never had an issue with spawning in screamers before. Typically they always show up. The only other thing I could think of is going with the tried and true auger. I found out that the threshold to spawn in a screamer is 25. Once your zombies hit 25%, I see a zombie way off in the distance out there, but that's not a screamer. No. Get rid of you. And it's only a chance of it actually happening, and then it resets. Once it resets, there's like a cooldown. Like right now, that's what the CD stands for. So it's 2 minutes and 5 seconds of a cooldown. So if I'm way over here, far away from the base, heat act 5. So this is the chunk. So if you didn't know, 7 Days to Die spawns in chunks. The easiest way to describe it is, if you go to the map, so like this chunk is what we see, and then as I move forward, the chunk in front of me populates and the chunk behind me goes away, which is why when you use dev mode and you're flying around, see like how you can see all these trees. Let me see if I can find an area. All right, so right past this mountain, there's very minimal trees, right? You don't see any trees there, but if I skip forward, so right now what it's doing is it's loading in the chunks of the map, and behind me it's deleting the old chunks of the map. So those trees that were over there by that mountain are gone. So if I move over here, trees populate in. So everything's done by chunks. So within a certain chunk, the heat actually rises and falls. Let's get this side heated up pretty well. %. That's a high cooldown. 13 minutes of cooldown in this area. Alright, so it looks like we do have 2 screamers. For whatever reason, I can't get the forge, the fires, campfires. We got stuff all around here cooking. Alright, so that, I just saw a huge increase in heat on that one. And we got screamers. So if I come over here and just hide, see what they do. So right now they pathway to heat. So right now they're actually looking for a heat source. But because they can't see me, yeah, they're just going straight for the building. They only scream when they can see you. So I'm tucked away in the building up top. If I show my face to them, they're gonna scream. And she saw me. Regardless of whether or not a screamer gets spawned in, there'll be a cooldown time. So your percentage will raise up, it'll keep ticking up until that threshold, then it'll jump down, reset, the cooldown timer will start, and I think that if a screamer does spawn, the cooldown time is much longer. So if the screamers don't get spawned in, I think it's like 5 minutes or something like that. So it seems like when the screamers do get spawned in, it's more close to 10 minutes. I dropped down to 38 frames on that one. Hey. Welcome. How you doing? Let's get rid of you guys. Excuse me. Good old Screamer Horde. Yeah. Hey, I'm over here. Stop eating away at my base. Alright, so now that we got that first wave of screamers, it doesn't matter what we do. See how the percentage isn't going up at all? We're on a cooldown right now, so that percentage is not gonna raise. Doesn't matter how much I use any heat whatsoever. We got rid of the screamer. They're supposed to be on a timer, and right now you can actually see it. It's 975 cooldown. So the 975, that is, I think, seconds. So now it's 970 seconds. But now that we got the screamers to spawn in, we have to figure out how to get rid of them. Getting rid of the screamers isn't too much of an issue because if you think about it, they spawn in, you eliminate them, and then go about your day. But a lot of people want the screamers to spawn in so that they can actually farm XP. And the only way to do that with this cooldown timer is get the screamer to spawn in, and then you have to leave that chunk area, get yourself a couple more campfires going. We got it over the campfire mark, or over the screamer mark, and I'm not seeing any screamers spawn, and the cooldown time is only at 2 minutes and 25 seconds, so I'm guessing that no screamers are going to spawn in this one. So, you got to move to another chunk. If you actually are trying to cheese the system and spawn in constant screamers, you can't just do it in one centralized location. You have to keep moving. Alright, so it's, again, cooldown 235, so I'm guessing, just a random guess, no screamers are going to spawn in, because that cooldown time is so low. Alright, off to another chunk. We got somebody, got good old Arlene. Hey. 23. Alright, so I guarantee you screamers just spawned in. I don't know where they're at. Yeah, there they are. Because our cooldown timer shot up to 13 minutes. So now that we figured out just how... I mean, it's difficult and easy at the same time to spawn them in, because 6 campfires will spawn in screamers. That will happen, but there's always that chance, and I don't know what that percentage is, and I don't know how to figure that percentage out, but there's a chance that they just won't spawn in. So if you're trying to create a screamer magnet, screamer beacon, screamer siren, whatever you want to call it. If you're trying to spawn one of those in, it's 6 campfires all in a small confined area. You could go chunk to chunk and give yourself a little bit of a defensive platform so that you actually have a spawning factory plus a way to eliminate the screamer spawn. And I'm pretty sure that they scream 3 times. Like if a screamer screams 3 times, like that's the limit. Once you get rid of all of the rest of the zombies, then they won't scream anymore. They'll still scream, but they won't call in any more zombies. You can go away, and screamers definitely spawned in. There they are. So we're gonna turn on God mode and just see. There's one scream. So there's one wave of zombies coming in. That's the second screamer, I think. Haha, he caught on fire. There's the second for the 2. So I think the way that we're gonna test this is we're gonna let the zombies just beat away at us here, and I'm gonna try to get rid of everybody except for the screamers. There's another scream. I'm just gonna let them have their field day with me here a little bit. And then eventually I'm gonna get rid of all of them except for the screamers to see if the actual screamer spawns stop. Alright, I know you're angry. I know. My brains look delicious. Can't even see who's who now. Let's set time 1. Make it daytime. Hi. Good job, you win. I kind of feel like Josh from Let's Game It Out right now. Where he's... I wonder how many of this it would take to break the game. How many screamer screams would it take for the zombies just to cause the game to glitch out? Deer, you're smart walking away. Yeah, so there we go. We got 4 screamers in this one chunk, and they have 3 screams each, and each scream called in a wave of zombies. So that was 12 screams, 12 waves of zombies that were called in. But now that I got all of them eliminated, all of the zombies eliminated, hey piggy, except for the screamers, now they're not screaming anymore. So even if I turn God mode off, run around, they're just gonna follow me around. No screams, no extra zombies. Ma'am, forget about me. I could just sit here all day now, because there's a limit to how many screams the zombies have, the screamers have. They'll just sit here and follow me around all day, beating at me. Which is unfortunate, because my plan was to try to trap a screamer in an area. I don't know how I would do it. I didn't work it that far in advance. But just have the screamer constantly scream and then walk by like a window or something that they're trapped in. So let's say if I built something... Alright, there we go. So if I was gonna do something, I would trap a zombie like in this area. Yeah, that's what I was afraid was gonna happen. And then they just all come pouring out. But like have like a windowed area. And so every time I want the zombie to scream, I would just run by the window. They'd spawn in a horde. And then I would take out the horde for an XP. And then next time it happens, run back through, spawn in another horde, and just XP farm my way up to a higher rank. You just constantly have to go to different chunks and go to different areas to try to get the screamers to spawn. Hey, you didn't catch on fire. If you just disappear and remain quiet, eventually I think they ignore you. There you go. They just kind of ignore you after a little bit. They get bored of beating away at the base, wander off. Now, I can't take credit for this because I saw this in a different video. Zombies will follow. Ooh, she just died out of nowhere. Sorry, I can't take credit for this because I saw it in a JaWoodle video. I don't like doing this because this is 100% theft of his idea. I didn't come up with this. This is 100% his design. One way that I saw that was used to combat the actual screamers from seeing you and screaming at the same time was to build yourself using the duct pieces, build yourself a little funnel, and then around that where the drop point of the duct pieces are is get yourself some spikes, because essentially screamers follow sound. And again, this is not my idea. I don't want credit for this. This is something that I saw in a JaWoodle video. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out his video because he's the original thought process of this. And his base is kind of interesting. It looked like an elephant. So if I close myself in, so no screamer can see me. All right, so screamers are out and about. They're wandering. You can hear them. And then you just throw rocks down your little shaft. They'll go to where that rock fell. Boom. They don't see you. Walking through spikes. You have to come down and repair your spikes every once in a while, or put in some blade traps, or maybe even like a motion sensor with a dart trap. But there you go. There's all of the screamers dead. Oh. One of them did not hear it. So we're gonna come up here. Throw our stone down our shaft. Falls down. It's coming towards the sound. And there she goes. Done. And the thing of it is, the zombies follow where the rocks land, not where they bounce. Because we have so many things running in this area, I'm looking at our heat levels. Our heat chunk just went up to 230, and obviously no screamers spawned, but that is still cycling in this area. So before I move on to the next base, I'm definitely gonna have to turn everything off, just so we don't get random screamers spawning in where we don't want them. And that's the screamer spawner, built, tested, and a whole lot of waiting around. I think there's a mechanic built into the game that only allows screamers to spawn when you least expect it. They can be a little bit shy when you actually want them to show up. But hey, we proved the concept, and the XP potential is real. Big thanks again to Tracy Brody for the idea. You've always been an amazing supporter, and I truly appreciate it. If you've got any wild challenges or crazy ideas, put them in the comments below. I'm always game to try something new. Alright, you know the rest of the deal. Like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace, I'm out of here.